Self-care. It's such a deep, layered word, and for me, it's really become the process of getting to know yourself, showing up for yourself over and over again. In creation of the Self-Care Creature podcast, I want to teach you, too, how to have a relationship with yourself. We're going to dive into the psychological and physiological unfoldings of adopting what I love to call a self-care lifestyle. This podcast is here to help you, the stressed out but spiritually minded individual who can feel that wild calling in your heart, who wants to develop self-care rituals to support your daily living, give you the confidence and know-how to live through your intuition and raise your self-worth. You deserve it. You are capable of this, and I want to help you understand how the hell to get there, what it actually means, and how do you actually live it. That's where my intention is with this podcast. The Self-Care Creature podcast, brought to you by me, your host, Courtney Klopp. Let's dive in. All right, here we go. I just had another whiff of intuition where I'm just lying here kind of thinking about some life shit, and I was like, oh damn, I need to record this. So here we are. Let's see how it goes. I'm thinking about, how do you know when you are ready to actually change and level up your life and create new habits? And I'm going anywhere from, I guess I'm kind of thinking about my own journey of, my journey started with fitness and eating better and just like wanting to better my life. And fast forward to when I actually started like my fitness journey way back in 2011, fast forward to 8 years. It's 2019 now. I have completely, I really feel like I've had this awakening. I feel like I'm going through an awakening, and I can't tell you in this moment exactly what that means, but my long-term mentor has mentioned it to me. I've had friends mention it to me, and I really feel like I've walked the bridge between just wanting to take better care of myself and actually like waking the fuck up, walking a spiritual path, recognizing my power and empowerment. And whether or not you resonate with spirituality, I feel like you can definitely resonate with wanting to be an empowered, badass person, right? Like you want to feel confident and you want to know how to take care of yourself on all these deeper levels. And I am definitely moving in the direction of just talking way fucking more and swearing way more, damn. But just talking way more about spirituality. I am coming to a place in my life where I am just totally accepting myself that I am a very spiritual person. And I have been so scared to come out and just say that for so long. Because of all the fear. And I'm recognizing too, some patterns in my life is that I am really scared of judgment of what other people will think of me. And then I get in my head about it. And then I have to realize I'm the only one that's actually really judging me. And that my friends are very supportive. I'm very grateful that I have a very supportive group of people in my life. And if you happen to find yourself in a place where you don't feel very supported, I feel like that is the beauty of the internet these days, because you can just go online and surround yourself by those people, but follow your gut, because there are lots of people out there that are just showing the highlight reel of their life. Thankfully, that's becoming like you can totally sift through some shit and find real people. But yeah, like whatever you're aspiring to, you got this. And I remember after my yoga teacher training in 2014, no, it was 2015. It was March 2015 that I had spent 3 weeks straight in the jungle in Costa Rica, just doing my yoga teacher training. And I remember having this deep feeling of calmness washing over me. And I just had this deeper knowing that this calmness and this clarity and this, I guess, yeah, the calm clarity was like a way that I was going to become in the future. But at that time I literally turned 25 on that trip. I hadn't quit drinking yet. I was still a wild child. I was very sarcastic. I knew I had so much work to do and I wasn't ready to be in a place to be that calm, clear person. But I just had this very deeper inner knowing that that was my path and that's where I would be in the future, which is really kind of fucking weird to say because that was 2015 and this is 4 years later. And I actually feel like I might be at that spot now. Whoa, that realization is like, just gave me crazy tingles all over my whole body. Whoa. I'm curious, maybe you can take a moment to reflect for yourself. Has that ever happened to you? Have you ever had some deeper knowings where you feel like something's going to change or shift or you just have a deeper knowing about your life and then it ends up happening? But that's the thing, is that I feel like sometimes we have these deeper knowings and we don't let it happen. Okay, back to how do you know when you want to change, when you're ready to change? How do you facilitate this real lasting change? We're talking about the spiritual path here. That's what we're talking about. How do you unfold and awake and become who you're meant to be, that strong, badass person? So first of all, I think the very first step is knowing that you want to change, just knowing that you want to change. And that can come in very many different forms of wanting to change. It can just be like a restlessness within your bones, just being able to finally, like one example for me is that I just wasn't satisfied with my patterns in drinking. And I knew that I wanted to change something. I wanted to do something different. Or working in the culinary industry for a while, the cooking industry, I was just like, is this really what I see myself doing long term for like 20, 40 years? And it really wasn't. I just didn't feel fulfilled at the idea of thinking about working in the kitchen long term. So first of all, you have to want this change and you need to have like some kind of spark. And I really feel like this change needs to facilitate something. Maybe facilitate's not the right word. It really needs to invoke something very deep inside of you that allows you to want to change. It's way deeper than weight loss or like, physical fitness type related goals. And nothing's wrong with that kind of stuff. But all I'm saying is that it gets deeper. Like there's a reason why you want to lose weight. If weight loss, just an example, because I saw that one all the time between my nutrition background and my personal training background. So that's number one. Number one, you want to change. And the next thing is that you try for that change. So first of all, you want to change. And it's like, okay, I'm not really feeling satisfied, but just because you recognize that you want to change and you're not necessarily feeling satisfied in different areas of your life, that does not mean that you are going to try to change. Just to be clear, just because, and then, of course, guilt and shame and all of this stuff may come up within you because it's really fucking hard for us. We're not taught to accept ourselves. And especially for where we're at, we're always berating ourselves for where we think we could be. But there's reasons why we don't level up sometimes. And again, I always believe that we are doing the best we can with the tools we've been given in this moment. And sometimes you want to change and you're not ready to actually try for it. And it could be the stress in your life. It could be the people that you're surrounded with, the person you're dating, certain circumstances that you just have to take care of, or you're just not fucking ready. It can be that simple. Excuse me. So number one, you want to change. Number two, you begin to strive for that change. And this can be a really exciting step because you want to change and now you're ready to give it a try. And me, as a questioner, type A personality, a planner, Enneagram 7, as well as an ENFP, I get extremely excited about the researching and planning process to the point where sometimes it's like, I know that these personality types, us peeps, we kind of get stuck in this space sometimes where we literally are just like, ooh, like I love preparing and I love studying and I love organizing, and you never actually move the fuck on to what you're trying to do. But so you want to change, now you're trying for the change. So prepare, blah, blah, blah. I'm stuttering over my words a lot. You are striving to prepare for it. And that may be getting the new running shoes, buying some new crystals, getting a journal, buying a special candle. One thing I did in my earlier fitness days was buy stickers to put on my calendar for every day that I worked out. Just like that kind of process. You want to change, step 1. Step 2, you're striving for that change in some way. So you make the workout plan, you're like, I'm starting on Monday or whatever it may be. And you go and you strive for that change and you start doing it and you get into this rhythm, and it really varies person to person, but more often than not, we all hit step 3, which is receiving pushback. So first, you want to change, and then you're striving for that change. And then at some point you start receiving pushback. And the pushback that I'm talking about isn't necessarily, it could be in the form of like friends and family being like, what are you doing? I don't support you. But the pushback I'm talking about is your own pushback. Like you literally can't or won't keep up with your routines. And something that just kind of gets under my skin about the fitness industry is that when this happens, we're like, you just got to do it. Like, just do it. Don't think about it. And there's, that's a really fine line, because you got to learn also how to listen to your body. You got to make sure that you're incorporating proper rest days. I guess I'm just going with a lot of fitness analogies and metaphors here, but I feel like it leaks into every part of life. Even if you're like trying to eat better, you have to allow yourself grace to not eat better all the fucking time. It's like, because we have this idea of like linear change, right? And we want to strive for this change, and we have an idea of how it'll go in our heads, and then we are not realistic to ourselves that pushback's going to happen. Like it's going to happen. I don't think anybody doesn't receive that, but most of us decide to berate ourselves and push through it and not listen to our bodies and not meet ourselves where we're at. And it just makes for a really a tumultuous inner dialogue. And whatever you're, how many times can I say, do you guys feel me out there? But okay, where was I? just got lost on my own words. So you're receiving that piece, pushback from yourself, and we need to be able to offer ourselves grace, because that pushback's going to come. And step 4, you're going to repeat old patterns. So step 1, you want to change. Step 2, you're striving for that change. Step 3, you're beginning to receive pushback. What do you do with it? Sometimes you can keep going, but more... There we go again. More often than not, we are going to repeat old habits or old patterns at some point, because we're not ready, because we haven't learned something new, because we've been binging restricting, or whatever it may be. And this is all literally part of the cycle that I feel like we really have to give ourselves the grace for, again, because nobody tells us that this is the journey, but it's literally part of the journey. We're learning about ourselves. And what's what's magical about the whole process is that the moment that you decide you want to change and that you begin striving for change, as long as you keep showing up for yourself, there's literally no way you can fail. There is no fail. The failing would be not showing up for yourself. And you can be in the midst of old patterns and, eating a bunch of junk food again and just like lazing around the house and smoking all the weed. And if you can realize that you are there and that you can at least show up for yourself and still be there and not fall back into these like awful berating patterns, that is all that matters. But if you're like, fuck it, I really don't give a shit about myself and I don't want to think about what I'm doing, I just like, I'm over this, and you turn your back, like, I don't know. I guess that could be a quote unquote negative thing, but at the same time, I'm a person that really strongly believes that everything in life has its time and its place. So even if you did that, I'd be like, you'll probably come around at some other time. I also know that the world is waking up. We're waking up right now. We're sick and tired of this bullshit. We're sick and tired of these patterns. We want to see change, and it's not just in our personal lives, but we're seeing it in like massive parts of the world as well, trying to deconstruct all of these systems, these bullshit suppression type systems that have been at play for so long. Okay, so after you start pushing back on yourself and you start to repeat old habits, we kind of get stuck between 3, maybe even 2 to 4 a lot, where we're striving for that change. We start to receive pushback. Eventually we fall into old habits. We get back into that striving for change again. We start to receive pushback at some point, and then we get back into those old habits. Like, some of us I know I lived within that fucking cycle for years and years and years. So what can you do to get out of that? Step 5 is that you have to learn how to break old habits. And there are so many different ways to do this. I mean, it's practicing your awareness. And this is, I guess, where I kind of looped in step 6. So 5, you have to maybe even not necessarily even just learn how to break old habits, but you have to recognize the patterns and want to break old habits. And again, just because you recognize it doesn't mean that you're going to be ready. It doesn't mean that you're going to feel ready. I've been wanting to quit smoking weed for a really long time, like years, and I have tried several times and I just haven't been fully ready. You kind of have to trust in your process. The same thing happened with alcohol. It was literally upwards of 2 years before I was actually able to stop. And with alcohol, it was different because I actually hit what I call a rock bottom, that I just was like, I have to walk away from this. So learn how to break your old habits, want to break the old habits, try to start doing something to break the old habits, and loop in step 6 with that. Start incorporating self-acceptance, awareness, and compassion. That definitely is going to help you get out of the loop between 2 and 4, the striving for change, receiving that pushback, and repeating old patterns. So when you want to break old habits and you start to begin to learn how to break old habits, I mean, you can go to therapy, you can read books, start following people on Instagram that expand your consciousness and make you change your mind. Buy the fucking Oracle deck or the tarot cards, like explore the unknown and just get out of there. I always say too, write down your fears and just do it all. Get it out. The work of Byron Katie is also, I believe I'm saying her name right. I'm a little dyslexic, so sometimes I say it backwards. But her book, Loving What Is, was an absolute game changer too for me. Like, can you accept what is in your life? Can you just accept what's happening? Because oftentimes reality and the stories we make up in our mind is different. So taking a look at that shit, my grandpa would be having a heyday right now with how many times I'm saying, I don't know why my throat is so scratchy and my water is across the room. So whatever. Okay, this is the last step. We're moving into the last step. So I know I've been recapping the whole time, but I think it's important that you can start to understand the cycle. First, you're wanting that change. Second, you're trying to strive for that change. You receive pushback and you repeat old habits and old patterns. You get stuck in that loop, striving for change, pushback, patterns. Finally, you're like, what the fuck? I feel like I'm always here. This is feeling familiar. How do I break this? And you start exploring self acceptance, awareness, compassion, self compassion, and learning how to go into fear and heal trauma. And you just start looking for something new. And those steps, that 5 and 6, can take years in and of itself. You cannot rush your healing process. It's impossible. And so finally, after you have been like, okay, I'm doing some change, I'm recognizing these old habits, I really want to change, and I'm starting to incorporate this self-acceptance and awareness and self-compassion, that is when we can start to level the fuck up. And leveling up, again, I'm going through it right now, so please take this with a grain of salt. We'll see what I say down the line. But leveling up is, for me, has been, okay, I have been learning how to communicate with the universe in ways of like learning that coincidences don't really exist. They're a sign I'm being guided, or like the little signs that I see everywhere in the form of like always seeing birds in threes, or always seeing triple or quadruple digit numbers, or like, all the little things. I know that you know what I'm talking about. The eerie stuff that you're just like, what the fuck is that? And after you spend years learning about that, all of that stuff, finally at some point, you're going to be in a place where you're ready to listen. And when you are ready to listen, it's like you can't go back. That's how I feel right now. Right now, the way that I have been trying to live my life is like I know that most times when I think of something, or I'm like stuck between a decision, more often than not, it's the first thing. I will go back and always choose the first thing. So right now, I'm trying to just trust myself and choose the first thing every time. I'm also checking in a little bit, like, what feels right here? And just like taking a breath, checking in with my body, making sure that something doesn't feel weird. I've been getting lots of signs from the universe lately about meditation. So I was out at the beach. I've been going to the beach every day, and I have been seeing lots of eagles, lots of seagulls. Just the run made me laugh. But then a few days in a row, I saw a crow, like a single crow, fly overhead, and I kept thinking to myself, ooh, like I should get out what the crow card is in my animal spirit guide deck, the Wild Unknown. And I kept forgetting, and I was on the phone with a friend one day, and I heard a crow randomly, like outside my window, and while I was on the phone with her, I was like, oh shit, I'm gonna like bookmark that page right now, and I bookmarked it, didn't get a chance to look at it. Separately, I'm reading this other book later, and one of the exercises at the end of the chapter says to incorporate meditation. And I'm like, okay, I see meditation. And then I go back to my crow book, and the crow to bring in the balance is meditation. And then I end up in a conversation with a friend talking about, actually not just one friend, but several friends. It came up that meditation is just really challenging. It's like we're doing all this self-study and this work, but it's like sitting down on the freaking cushion and being silent with ourselves is the last thing we want to do. And after literally about 3 of those conversations, I was like, something clicked in me, and I was like, I need to meditate. I think I even heard a friend say that, or I heard myself say it to a friend, just how I was doing all of the work. I was journaling, writing the cards, saying prayers, writing affirmations, all the shit, doing yoga, but I was not just sitting with myself. And I heard just hearing those words come out of my mouth, coupled with all of these other little signs that I just mentioned, I just knew, yo, you gotta sit the F down and start meditating. And I've been meditating every day since. And it's been like only a week, but again, we all gotta start somewhere. And you can take this however you want. I say just listen as much as you want, and it doesn't, and exactly this is with these cycles and these steps that I'm talking about. Sometimes you're not going to feel like you want to fucking do it, and you're not going to feel excuse me, you're not going to feel ready. You're not going to feel, it's going to feel like a big chore. And I really say, give yourself grace to notice those things and meet yourself where you're at. Because if you are just dragging yourself through the dirt, hating every minute of it, that fucking sucks. And that's not what you're here for. You're here to enjoy shit. And I really feel confident that wherever you meet yourself where you're at, eventually you're going to get to a place where you are ready to sit down on the cushion and enjoy yourself. Like right now, for me, it's not a second thought. Every single day, I may not feel like I really want to, and I may not look forward to it, but I have this deeper knowing of how it's helping me and how the universe is like, yo, you need this right now. And let alone all the messages that come through for me when I do sit down, I'm ready. I'm in a place where I'm ready to do it. And we just have this huge misconception in our world that if we don't, like it's, I see memes and stuff about this all the time, but it's like we have this idea in our head that if we beat ourselves up and we like force ourselves into shit that we don't like to do, that we're magically going to do it and come out happier on the other side. Literally, where in our lives does that work out anywhere else? We can't treat children like that. You can't treat animals like that. You can't treat other people like that. You just can't force shit and expect it to come out good on the other side. So meet yourself where you're at. Meet yourself where you're at and trust in your unfolding. And have fun, please, as much as possible while you're doing it. Whew. Should I go through the steps one more time? I think I'm going to, just because maybe I haven't said them enough in the last half hour. So how do you know when you're ready for change? How do you know when you're ready to actually level the fuck up? Well, first of all, you know that you want that change. You just know. You have that inkling. Number two, you start to strive for that change. You make some kind of plan. You make some kind of change. You're trying something different. And before long, sooner or later, you're gonna receive some pushback, feedback too maybe, but you're going to receive some pushback because old habits and patterns don't just change on their own. And that's when you start to repeat them. And then eventually you're going to learn how to break those old habits, and you're going to learn about those old habits, and you're going to incorporate self-acceptance, awareness, compassion, self-compassion, and kind of adopting that self-care lifestyle as this entire thing gives the whiff of. And eventually you're going to level the fuck up. Okay? But it's not easy. It's not a linear path. There's so many steps in there. I feel like I am literally having this awakening right now. I'm in the middle of it. I barely even know what that means. And I really started diving into my spiritual path in 2014. So what's 9 minus 4? It's 5. 5 going on 6 years, it's taken me to get to a place where I actually feel like I want to listen. And of course, the whole time I've been telling myself that I am listening and I am doing really good and that I am trying my best and all this stuff. And I have been, but I've also been trying to fit myself in fucking boxes and not accepting myself for where I'm at. So I really hope that this resonates with you. I hope that this can help you be a bit more compassionate with yourself, to really meet yourself where you are at. Go write down a freaking affirmation that feels really close to your heart, that is reassuring for you, that you can keep with you at all times to remind yourself where you are at. And of course, if you have questions, I want to know what comes up for you in this episode. I want to know how I can support you. I love answering your questions. So please slide into my DMs and ask, because we can always do a follow-up episode on more of this if you're just like all of a sudden have a billion questions and don't really know where to start with this. But I hope that it's a clear path. I hope that you can take a couple of breaths. Okay, let me back up real quick. Definitely breathe. Breathing is always good. But I just said, I hope that it's a clear path. I mostly meant that I just hope that everything I'm saying is comprehensible for you and is able for you to grasp. The path is not going to be clear. It's not going to feel clear. And that's why we need to come into these practices where we can start to experience and believe in a power that is greater than ourselves, because the path is not clear and trust is essential. And when I say a power greater than ourselves, that can be your community, that can be nature, that can be gods and goddesses, and completely detached from religion. Side note, so whatever you need. Well, you know how to reach me. I've got email lists. I'm on the Instagram. I have got free resources on my website. As always, I am so grateful to each and every one of you for tuning in. Please let me know what you thought of this episode. Screenshot it. Let me know you were listening. Let me know what resonated the most. I love you so much. I'm putting my hands to my forehead. And just taking an extra breath of gratitude for you. Rest well, friends. It's nighttime when I'm recording this, but wherever you are in your day or the world right now, rest well, be well, sending you so much love. I just want to take a quick moment to sincerely thank you for tuning in today. It really means the world to me that you are here supporting me, listening to what I have to say, and I sincerely hope that it finds you well and helps you wherever you're at in your life. And if you're ever wondering what other kind of stuff I have to offer you, you can check out my free resources or my paid offerings, both available on my website, www.selfcarecreature.com. And if you're looking for another simple and free way to support my business, because woo, small business, you can simply leave a review for the podcast, or even easier, take a screenshot right now and post it and tag me on Instagram. That is the easiest way, and it just builds community, builds connection. I will be able to see it and connect with you then. Thank you for taking the time to do that. Thanks for being here. Cheers.